Maria, you just left the White House. How did it go?
It go very well. It went very well. I'm very grateful for the opportunity I had to speak with President Trump, something I've been looking forward for a very long time. It was a huge responsibility because I did it on behalf of the Venezuelan people that appreciate so much what he has done for not only the freedom of the Venezuelan people, but I would say the whole hemisphere.
What was your purpose when you went in there? Did you have a mission? Did you have something you wanted to accomplish when you were in this meeting, in this lunch with the president?
Yes, certainly. First of all, I wanted to share with President Trump my profound trust in the Venezuelan people. And I told him that, please trust the Venezuelan people. We are people that love the United States of America, that share values, that admire the strength of your institutions, that want to live with democracy and dignity and justice and freedom. We want to have our children coming back home and work together for the security of the whole hemisphere. And I wanted to convey this to him and for him to know how much support and hope there is today in Venezuela regarding what he's doing in our country.
This was a high-stakes meeting. What was your impression of President Trump?
Oh, I'm really impressed. I had never had the chance to talk to him personally. Of course, I've followed him for a very long time, and certainly I admire his determination, courage, and the way he has faced the threats that we suffered, you know, in the Americas. But I never expected to have this, you know, frank, open, honest. I mean, he's the president of the United States, and he was very, very, you know, open and sincere and informed, I have to say, with the details of everything that's going on in Venezuela.
During the lunch, you gave the president a rosary. What was the significance of that rosary to you?
Well, it's huge, actually, and I thought about it because I thought I want to give him a present. What's something that really represents the strength and the faith and the unity of the Venezuelan people. In my campaign and in our movement during these years, everywhere I went, people used to give me rosaries. The last time I went to the streets with the Venezuelan people was on January 9. I was in hiding, and I went out to meet with thousands of Venezuelans. And several rosaries were given to me that day. That single day after the rally, I was detained by the regime, kidnapped by the regime. Actually, they grabbed me so hard, they broke my rib. And President Trump put a message on X alerting the regime that they should not harm me, that I should be released. And I was. And since then, I've been very, very grateful. And when I left Venezuela, I decided with the very few things I took with me, I took the rosaries I had received that day. And I brought them to the meeting with the Pope. And I asked the Pope to bless the rosaries. So I presented today the president with a rosary that has the colors of the Venezuelan flag that was given to me that day and blessed by the Pope.
Because he saved your life, President Trump.
Yes, and the lives of many, many Venezuelans as well with what he's doing.
In spite of the Nobel Prize Committee saying that you couldn't transfer your Nobel Prize to anyone, especially President Trump, you did today. Why did you do that?
Because he deserves it. And it was a very emotional moment. I decided to present the Nobel Peace Prize medal on behalf of the people of Venezuela. And I told President Trump where I found also inspiration to do that. And it happens that 200 years ago, General Lafayette gave Simón Bolívar, Venezuela's liberator, a medal bearing the face of George Washington. And it was in tribute to Bolivar's fight for freedom in the continent. And Simón Bolívar kept that medal with him until the rest of his days. So 200 years later in history, the people of Bolivar are presenting to the Washington's heir in retribution, in this case a medal, that's the Nobel Peace Prize medal, for what he's doing to liberate Venezuela and for freedom in the Americas.
After Maduro was captured, the president had a press conference. And during that press conference, he said,
I think it would be very tough for her to be the leader. She doesn't have the support within or the respect within the country. She's a very nice woman, but she doesn't have the respect.
Do you think that his opinion of you has changed after this lunch that you had with him today?
Yes, I think so.
Do you feel like you walked out of that meeting with a friend in President Trump?
Well, I hope that we will turn into friends. I think, I hope I have a chance to have other conversations with him, but I am very impressed with this meeting. As I said, was absolutely sincere on both sides. I was surprised with the degree of concern and information, true concern he has for the Venezuelan people. And I know he truly cares about lives. And this is about saving lives, American lives, Venezuelan lives, and the lives of all in the Americas.
2 weeks ago, U.S. Special Forces captured the dictator Nicolás Maduro. You heard the news, and what was your reaction?
I wasn't surprised. And I told that the president today. He asked me if I had been surprised. I said, no, I trust you. I know he always keeps his word. And this represents the beginning of the end of the war. That's what happened on January 3rd. And I believe it's an historical moment, not only for Venezuela, I would say for the whole continent.
Maduro is out, but his people, as you know, are still running the government, including Maduro's vice president, Delcy Rodriguez. Now, she is the interim president, and the White House has said that it has been great working with her. What do you think about that? Who is Delcy Rodriguez?
Well, from an ideological perspective, I mean, she's a communist, and she has been part of all these structure, criminal structure, that has put in place not only to destroy Venezuela, but to harm the rest of the hemisphere, including the United States. She has been the one in charge of the financial structure to bypass U.S. sanctions. She's a main liaison with Russia, with Iran, and other criminal groups. She's absolutely someone that that's close, as I have to say, to Russia, to Iran, to China. I mean, those were the three ambassadors who were in front row the day she swore in the National Assembly just less than 2 weeks ago, and she saluted them and hugged them after she did that. And that's where her, her loyalty is.
Right. What would you say to liberals who were out on the streets here in the United States supporting Maduro, calling for him to be released?
Release Maduro right now! Release Maduro right now!
Well, to some of them, you might give them the benefit of the doubt that they are not well informed that this is a criminal that has brought, not only poverty, but pain and death to our country, and also intentionally destabilize the whole region. I believe there are others that know the truth, and they are doing it just because they opposite President Trump's policies. So, I mean, we're talking about a system that has put in prison over 18,000 people in the last 20 years, and there have been over 20,000 extrajudicial executions. This is state terrorism. These are crimes against humanity, as the international organizations and the United Nations have labeled them.
What would you say to fair-minded Americans who are war-weary, very skeptical of foreign interventions, and really want our government and President Trump to just focus on domestic issues? What would you say to those Americans right now?
Well, first of all, I understand their concern because of what has happened in the past. But we have to understand that what's going on in Venezuela is a domestic issue because it has direct consequences in the lives of American people.
Explain.
Not only because of the drugs that are being brought into the United States that create thousands of deaths annually, but because we're talking about a structure, of criminal structure that has tentacles all along the Americas, and they are systematically undermining democratic institutions and Republican institutions. So this is about a real threat in the heart of the Americas. And imagine what it would mean, on the other hand, an orderly transition to democracy, not only huge business for American companies and employment in the United States, the possibility not only to develop oil, gas, rare minerals, this is huge for American business and employment, but also from a migration perspective. I always insist on this. Hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans will come immediately back home as soon as we have a transition to democracy.
Do you want to be the president of Venezuela?
I want to serve my country where I am more useful. I got a mandate, and I have that mandate very present every day. It has meant taking huge risks and paying very high costs, not only for me, but also for my family and our teams. But I do believe that, there's a mission, and we are going to turn Venezuela into that land of grace. And I believe I will be elected when the right time comes as president of Venezuela, the first woman president of Venezuela.
I know that you went through many political difficulties to get to the place that you are right now, but you've also made tremendous personal family sacrifices. And I know you don't like to talk about it, or you don't often talk about it, but now that you're out of the country, explain what those sacrifices are that you and your whole family made in order to get to this point.
Well, let me tell you something. Anybody that fights for freedom today in Venezuela, it's risking not only their own freedom and life, but also their loved ones, neighbors, friends, children, parents. I realized the life of my children was at risk 15 years ago, so I decided to take them out. I had been banned from leaving Venezuela for 12 years, so imagine, it meant I wasn't there when they graduated from college, when my daughter got married, when my son got married. And, it makes you feel very guilty, but at the same time, I always remind myself that I'm doing this for them. And they are very generous and very supportive. They always say, Mom, keep doing it. We know why you are doing it. And having the chance to hug them in Christmas after 2 years without seeing them, believe me, it also gives you the possibility to value what you love most. And you know something, Rachel? Everything we have done, the Venezuelan people, is for love. That's why this is so powerful. The force that moves us is love. Love for our country, love for our children, our family, and love for freedom. And that's why nothing will stop us. That's why we will prevail. Venezuela will be free.
Thank you, Maria Corina.